coming
You
up.
know, I'm a heterosexual male. You are a heterosexual male, but that doesn't make us any more manly than, say, a homosexual male,
Yes, it does.
right?
No, it
Come on,
does.
man.
A
That's
homosexual
no, that's
male is
not
not
right,
a
Jesse,
man.
man.
When a man is emotional, he's acting. When a man is a homosexual, he's acting. When a
Okay.
man is a so-called transgender person, he's acting. He's gone away from his natural state of being, and now he's acting like something else. When a man is playing macho, he's acting. When a man is, but when you're a man, you're in a natural state of being, the way you were created, and you're not acting. You're being who you are, and that's what you people are trying to change. You're trying to take the
You
man.
people.
You're trying to take the man away from his natural state of being and want him to be something that he's not. What is a man?
That's something that I've been struggling with for the longest.
You said you're happy, you're always happy to talk to a black person about these kinds of issues. Are
Absolutely.
you happy to talk to a white person about it as well?
It's a really good question. When it comes to race, I try to avoid those conversations. I mean, I do have them, but I don't have them on a regular basis because I feel like that for the most part, most white people are not honest when it comes to racism, white supremacy. So I feel like I don't want to waste my time, and a lot of times that when you do talk to white people about race, you are put in the position of being the teacher. And so I don't want to have to teach somebody about my experience
And when
in
you say
life.
they're not honest, what is it that they're not honest about?
I think a lot of white people don't want to accept the fact that racism and white supremacy is the ruling sort of way of life. They don't want to accept the fact that there are certain things that have been done that have set in motion how we live today. And I'm not here to blame white people for slavery, for Jim Crow, for redlining, but I need you to understand that because of those procedures, because of those acts, that's one of the big reasons why why we're where we are today.
Why should white people accept something that doesn't exist, that they are not guilty of? This whole illusion about white supremacy doesn't exist. It's only in the minds of black people who are in a fallen state of being. Most black
Okay.
people, most black people are angry. And as
Okay.
a result of
Oh,
that anger that comes from their mothers and grandmothers, they have been brainwashed and dumbed down. And so, and as you know, when you're an angry person, you don't see
sure.
reality. And most black people don't see reality. They're blaming white people for something that their parents did to them.
Well,
And the brainwashing of their black leadership and social justice warrior white people,
social justice warrior. What?
warriors,
Okay,
white
so
people.
let's just kind of go back to a couple of things you said. You said first off that racism doesn't exist.
Right.
If it didn't exist, then why did Hitler enact the final solution? Why were we
He was
brought
an
here
evil man.
in chains? Why were there redlining? Why was I'm sorry. Why did the CIA conspire with Nicaragua to flood the ghettos with drugs, which would then lead to believe crack cocaine? Why is the crack and cocaine sentencing disparity so deep? Why is it that black men get paid 80 cents on the dollar compared to white men? So I mean, those are salient examples of how racism exists. Now you said that black people are angry. Well, I am angry. I'm a black man walking in America. I do know that if I encounter a police officer and he or she feels a certain way about me, I could die. And more than likely, that police officer will not be charged for the crime. So we live in a system that is just inherently not balanced.
Well, let me just say, none of those
Sure.
examples you gave have anything to do with this false illusion of racism. And when you run
Okay.
into a police officer, you don't know how that police officer feel about you. It's you feeling that way about them in your fallen state. And because you feel that, you think that and feel that in that fallen state, you are thinking that they are thinking that about you, and it's absolutely not true. Those are your
Okay.
thoughts and not the thoughts of the cops.
Hey.
But I
Okay.
want, and so, and in that fallen state, a lot of people don't know that they're projecting. They think it's someone else when it's really them. And the cops are just doing their job, but your
Okay.
father, the devil, is telling you that, oh, they think you're a bad black guy, and look how they're treating you, and you're just believing into another lie.
Okay, Jesse. Well, let's look at what happened with Terrence Crutcher and Betty Shelby. Terrence Crutcher just had car trouble. He Betty Shelby, the police officer, rolled up on him. He had no gun. He was just outside of his car, and she killed him. What about Philando
Does it matter to you
Castile?
that he
What
was
about
not? Let me hold on.
what about Eric Garner?
LeBron, does it matter that he was not complying? He was acting as though he was on PCP. Had not he acted that way, he might be alive today. He disobeyed orders.
Sir, what about
Now, wait, hold
what
on.
about
Stay with that.
what
No, no,
about Tamir
no.
Rice?
Don't run from that. Stay with that. Does that
Sure.
matter
Okay.
at all? Does that matter at all?
Well, what was he not doing that?
He
All
was
right.
not
So let me ask
complying
you a
to the
question. Was
office.
there anything that
No, no,
I'm
no.
sorry,
Don't
Jesse.
ask me a question.
I can't hear you.
Does that matter at all that he was not complying to the officer commands?
So him not complying means a death sentence.
It means he's putting his life at risk because the officer is not going to stand there and let you kill them or him
He
or
was
her.
he was several feet away from her, no weapon in sight.
Give me a yes or no. Does it
Jesse,
matter?
I've seen white. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Give me a yes or no. Does it matter that he was not complying to the office? Yes or no? Just give me a yes or no on that first.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Not that's going to get him killed. No.
Okay. Amazing. I want to go back to
Sure.
the manhood. First, explain to the people what gaslighting is. What does that
Okay.
mean?
All right. So gaslighting, what it is it's a form of manipulation, a form of denial. Let me give you an example. My friend, a woman, comes to me and says, "LaRon, I feel like this person was sexually harassing me. I feel like that they were coming on to me making lewd comments, making just derogatory statements, and I felt really uncomfortable." My response would be, "Well, do you think it was because maybe the energy you put out? Do you think it was you think maybe you were kind of misreading it? Do you think that maybe it was because the way that you were dressed? Do you think that maybe you're being a little too sensitive about the issue?" So it's essentially denying and placing doubt into your mind to think that you did something wrong. I mean, it's totally obfuscating everything and not taking in regard that person's reality.
LaRon, let me ask, when men are being men,
Yes, sir.
do you think that they're acting?
Well, I'm sorry. So you said when men are being what? I'm sorry.
When they are being men, when they are being who they were created to be, do you think that they're acting and that they should be softer or emotional or change who they really are and act like a woman?
Well, I don't think there's one just sort of model of what a man is. I think that's where you and I kind of have the disconnect here. I mean, you think that a man is supposed to just act like, A, but I mean, there's B, C, D, E, F, G. I mean, you know, again, we have to figure out what is a man, what is manhood, what is masculinity, and we just can't just accept just this sort of just this garden variety. I mean, I'm a heterosexual male. You are a heterosexual male, correct?
Right.
So, but that doesn't make us any more manly than, say, a homosexual male,
Yes, it does.
right?
No, it
Come on,
does.
man.
A homosexual
That's
male is
not
not
right,
a
Jesse,
man.
man.
But what you don't seem to understand, being a
Sure.
man is not acting. Being a
Right.
man is. You're not acting. Anything that goes away from that is acting. Like when a man is emotional, he's acting. When a man is a homosexual, he's acting. When a
Okay.
man is a so-called transgender person, he's acting. He's gone away from his natural state of being, and now he's acting like something else. When a man is playing macho, he's acting. When a man is, but when you're a man, you're in a natural state of being, the way you were created, and you're not acting. You're being who you are, and that's what you people are trying to change. You're trying to take the man. You're trying to take the man away from his natural state of being and want him to be something that he's not, and that doesn't work. What is a man?
That's something that I've been struggling with for the longest. I think being a man, number one is being true to who you are. You know, being honest with yourself, being honest with others, keeping your word, being a person of integrity, being able to think for yourself, and being able to make decisions that not only are the best for you, but are the best for others. Now, notice all those examples that I gave you. It has nothing to do with a person's sexuality.
But
I mean, look, like some of the most manliest men I know are gay.
those
I
are not
mean,
manly men. Those are manly women.
so you're gonna sit up here and
But
say
so let
one
me
of the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no finish your point.
No, so you're gonna sit up here and tell me one of the greatest writers to ever live, a guy by the name of James Baldwin, is a manly woman.
Was he a homosexual?
James Baldwin, yeah, absolutely.
Then yes, he was a manly woman.
Look, dude, like, why does it, Jesse? Why does it matter who someone sleeps with? Look, I don't care
And I
what you
don't
do
care
in
about
your
that.
bedroom.
I don't care about that. That's not the issue. The issue that you and I are discussing is that there are people out there who are trying to destroy masculinity. They are trying to get men to become something other than men. And it's the worst thing that can happen to a society when you destroy masculinity, because when you destroy masculinity, the world goes to hell in a handbasket. The thing about what I realize is that you don't know what it is because you were not raised by your father, right?
No, I was not raised by my father, but I
So
did
you
have my
have your
grandfather as well as uncles in my life. So I did have a strong male influence. Now, I will agree with you that maybe I would have been different if I had my father
you
in my
would
life,
have you
but
would have.
the fact that I didn't, I'm I'm 100% okay with who I am.
But you shouldn't be okay with that because since you did not have your father's identity growing up, you have the identity of your mother. You have her nature. You're like a woman on the inside, and you don't know what masculinity is. You don't know what it is to be a man. So now you're out there promoting the woman's identity rather than the man's identity.
No, I'm sorry. Look, all right. So I'm just gonna keep it all the way live. Am I 100% pro, single mothers raising kids? No. I'm like you. I do believe that there should be a two-parent household. I mean, that's the more optimal way of raising a child. But in a perfect world, that would be required, but this isn't a perfect world. And just because I wasn't raised primarily with my father in my life doesn't make me any less of a man. The greatest man
Yes,
that
it
I've ever
does.
known is my
No,
grandfather.
it does make you less a man because you think like a woman and not like a man. If
All right,
you
see,
were if you were a man, you wouldn't be promoting men becoming women. You wouldn't think that homosexuality or macho-ness and all that fake stuff is real. You would be. What's the difference between a man and a woman?
well, are we talking biologically?
Other than the body parts, what's the difference between a man and a woman?
You know, I would like to think that, gosh, I mean, I don't want to sound crass. I don't want to sound like a sexist jerk here because, I mean, well, first off, I know how much you hate that word, but I would like to think that women have much more estrogen. Women bring life. Women are a tad more emotional. Men tend to be more logical. But I mean, I've seen some really emotional, catty men out here.
Because they're like their
that's just,
mothers.
I mean, the hood's full of them,
Right.
And I've seen some really logical women.
Why do you think the hood is full of catty men?
I think the hood is full of catty men because that's such a complex question.
No, it's not.
I think first off, the fact that communication skills are not really taught. I think that being loud and gossiping and talking mess is championed, and settling differences via solid conversations is just not something that is promoted.
Let me tell you why.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Let me tell you why the hood is full of catty men.
Please do.
Because they've been raised by mothers who have caused them to become like the mother. They are angry at their mothers, and when you're angry, when you resent someone, you become like what you're angry at. So they're acting like women because that's the identity that's made a home inside of them, and they are not men. They are women. And that's why they have to realize that so they can overcome that and return to their fathers so that they can become who they were created to be. They're operated from the wrong state of being, from the mother's identity and not the father's. So that's why they're catty like women.
Oh, okay. So I noticed that you kind of let the fathers off the hook a bit. I mean, as if, it's all the mother's fault, these single mothers, this is the reason why that the hood is bad, yada, yada, yada. That's just not true. And that's very disingenuous, sir.
That's off subject. You're off topic.